Tonight on Reporting Scotland, police reveal a huge rise in reports of rape as officers deal with around 7 accusations every day. One senior officer says it's probably just the tip of the iceberg as a new campaign urges men to speak up about sexual violence.
Little girls are treated differently from little boys, and then we grow up, we're told that we need to always be monitoring our safety, we're told that the world isn't safe for us.
Also on tonight's programme, a Clydebank high-rise is evacuated as the bomb squad's called in.
Last year I just couldn't get one. I had the heating right up because I could do. This year I wouldn't be able to do that.
A cold weather warning for winter. One charity says hundreds of pensioners could end up in hospital after the scrapping of fuel payments.
And in sport, we look ahead to what could prove to be a defining week at the top of the Premiership table.
And sticking with sport, after a goalkeeper saves 6 goals in a single game, he finishes it by scoring one himself.
It's part of my job, so I think just doing that the best you can, and if that's going the right way 5 times, then that's what it is.
Hello, I'm Laura Miller. Welcome to Monday's programme. In the space of 6 months this year, Police Scotland received 1,400 allegations of rape. That works out around 7 per day and was almost 20% up on the same period for the previous year. A senior officer says it's probably just the tip of the iceberg, while the police have launched a campaign which aims to prevent sexual offending by addressing male behaviour. Our Home Affairs correspondent David Cowan reports.
If you had the chance to step in and stop a woman being sexually assaulted, would you?
Thing is, many of us have had that chance and did nothing.
This is the latest phase of an award-winning social media campaign run by Police Scotland. It aims to prevent sexual crimes by addressing male behaviour.
Don't be that guy that just stays silent.
The figures released by the force today hammer home why it's needed. In 6 months from April this year, 1,400 rapes were reported to the police, an increase of 19.5% compared to the same period last year. 850 were said to have taken place within the last 12 months, roughly a third more than 12 months ago. This senior officer says they're hoping increased reporting represents increased confidence in victims coming forward.
I'm really confident that I don't think things are getting worse out there, but I do think that there is a long way to go before we get 100% of the picture of this sort of offending. Do I think that the reported crimes that we currently have in Police Scotland are the full picture? No, it's not. It's probably the tip of the iceberg.
The figures reflect a long-standing trend, but the latest rise in reporting has shocked campaigners.
Even allowing for that part of it might be people having more confidence to report, I think we absolutely can't rule out that at least some of that increase is more rapes taking place. And I think that's alarming, but I think it does really demonstrate why campaigns like the one being launched today are so vital.
And we let it slide because it's just banter.
The new campaign includes a podcast. One of its participants is a woman who was the victim of rape.
Ultimately, we live in a misogynistic society, and that starts from birth. I mean, little girls are treated differently from little boys, and then we grow up, we're told that we need to always be monitoring our safety, we're told that the world isn't safe for us. And now we're seeing new threats online with misogynistic influencers, and I think that that culture is what we need to change.
There's long been a big gap between the number of rapes and attempted rapes that are reported to the police and the number that reach court. The most recent figures show that 15% led to prosecutions. Of those, roughly half ended in convictions, significantly lower than for other crimes. Broadly speaking, across the legal system, there is the will to change that. The challenge is finding the way to do it. David Cowan, Reporting Scotland.
A high-rise block in West Dunbartonshire has been evacuated as the bomb squad's been called to a suspicious item found during a police investigation into a man's death. The property in Dalmuir in Clydebank has been locked down by emergency services, while a nearby train line has also been shut for several hours. Our news correspondent Jamie McIver is at the scene now. Jamie, what more can you tell us then?
Well, Laura, this is a significant incident and it's caused a lot of disruption for local residents and also for train passengers. Now, the bomb disposal team and the emergency services have been at the scene since early this afternoon. Just to talk you through what we know, a suspicious item was found in the course of an ongoing police investigation. Police forensic teams have been in the area since the unexplained death of a 58-year-old man the week before last. Residents of one of the tower blocks here were told by the police at lunchtime today to leave their homes just as quickly as possible. They were taken to a nearby rest centre just down the hill from where I'm standing, but they still don't know when they might be allowed back home.
What happened was about 25 minutes before the CID was up asking about there's been a murder or something like that, you know. And then half an hour after that, a policewoman came and said they're evacuating the flat. They found hazardous materials, you know, so that's really all I know, you know.
We've heard rumours that we could be here in the Assembly Hall for the rest of the evening, or we could go back late at night. We don't actually know. There's no one really told us yet. So everyone's just asking the same questions: what's going on, what's happened, what is the situation? No one can give us a clear answer.
Well, the incident has also caused disruption to train services. All services going through Dalmuir Station behind me have been suspended, and that's caused disruption to rush hour commuters heading out to Helensburgh, Dumbarton and Balloch. Now, police inquiries are continuing, but they do say there's nothing to suggest the item found in the property is linked to the investigation into the unexplained death.
OK, Jamie and Clydebank, thank you. Now, as we head towards winter, there's a stark warning from a charity that hundreds of pensioners could end up in hospital with hypothermia over the coming months. Age Scotland says more elderly people could suffer following the removal of the winter heating support payments for all pensioners. Hope Webb has the story.
That's 40 years ago, that picture was taken.
At home near Stirling, Margaret loves looking back at old photos. For many years, her and her husband Les enjoyed family life both in London and in Scotland. But in recent years, she cared for Les before he died with dementia. She now lives alone, and last year her health deteriorated.
I'm now on blood thinners, which a lot of people my age would be on. And yes, I feel the cold so much more because of that. But then that flares up the arthritis because I'm cold. Last year I just couldn't get warm. I had the heating right up because I could do.
So far this autumn, Margaret has been keeping her thermostat at around 15 degrees to save money.
At least when we were getting the payment for the fuel, it took a wee bit worry off in the winter when it was really cold. It took that wee bit worry off that at least you could stay warm without sitting with coats on and things like that, but be comfortable in your own home.
It's people like Margaret that charity Age Scotland is concerned about. The charity has obtained figures through a Freedom of Information request that show 900 people over the age of 50 were taken to hospital last December suffering from hypothermia, and those within the medical profession are also worried.
Because of the long-term conditions that older adults live with, they're more likely to develop hypothermia. So it's something that I'm seeing quite commonly. I'm also hearing from older adults that they are having to make difficult decisions about whether they heat their home or not.
The Scottish Government mirrored the UK Government's decision to make the winter fuel payment means tested. The winter heating payments will also only go to those receiving pension credit. It's thought 65,000 people are eligible but don't claim it. And now Age Scotland is calling on the Chancellor to reverse the decision.
The day-to-day consequences of removing the winter fuel payment are really blunt. Older people in Scotland today, pensioners who can't get the winter fuel payment because it's means tested, will be £200 or £300 worse off.
The Scottish Government says it was forced to cut its winter heating payments after the Westminster decision left a £150 million black hole. The UK Government said it's working with the Scottish Government to make the transition as smooth as possible. For Margaret, while her health worries are swirling, she needs to prioritise her well-being. But the question is, at what cost? Hope Webb, reporting Scotland.
A convicted murderer who tried to kill a second woman while he was on home release will not be released from jail following a parole hearing. Robbie McIntosh attacked Linda McDonald in 2017 as she walked her dog while he was on home leave from jail. He was originally jailed for life for stabbing to death another woman, Anne Nichol, 16 years earlier. Now, on Wednesday afternoon, the UK Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, will stand up to deliver her budget. The first ever by a female Chancellor, the first Labour one in 15 years, and almost 4 months since the party came to power. Today, the Prime Minister was laying the groundwork, saying the budget will shed a harsh light on the state of the British economy. Well, let's hear more now from our correspondent, David Henderson. David, a warning from Keir Starmer then.
Yeah, that's right. And Labour want to show that they're taking a very different approach from the previous Conservative government. So what we heard from the Prime Minister today is that, yes, some taxes would go up, but it would be for the purpose of spending more on public services. Sir Keir Starmer said the budget would aim to prevent what he called devastating austerity. Now, he repeated his promise not to increase taxes on working people, but it's still unclear who exactly counts as working people and who therefore will avoid any extra taxes that there are. The Scottish Labour leader, Anna Sarwar, backed the Prime Minister today, saying that the goal had to be to grow the Scottish economy more and to end austerity, even if it meant taxes rising for those who can most afford it.
And how do Labour hope to achieve all that's being promised?
Well, it could be challenging because this UK government has quite limited tax options. You'll recall that before the election, Labour ruled out raising taxes for working people. That meant VAT, income tax, national insurance. And the problem is, of course, those are the areas of taxation where the UK government gets the most money. So they'll have to do this in a different way if that's their plan. Whatever they choose, they're under pressure from the SNP here in Scotland to spend more on public services. We heard today from the Deputy First Minister, Kate Forbes, saying that at the election, Scots had voted emphatically for that change, for that extra investment, and that therefore had to be a priority. So while the SNP and Labour can agree on the need for extra spending, it's not at all clear that the Conservatives are going to fall in line on that front. The new Scottish Tory leader, Russell Finlay, has been setting out his vision for Scotland today, and he's been talking about the need for a smaller state with lower taxes that will deliver what he says will be more efficient, more effective public services in the years to come.
Well, we will find out more on Wednesday. Thank you, David. Well, we know one thing which is likely to change in the budget this week is inheritance tax, and this could have big implications for the farming sector. Here's our political correspondent, Rajdeep Sandhu.
This farm just outside of Stirling has been part of Alison's family since 1906. But with potential changes to inheritance taxes, she's worried if her children will be able to afford to continue farming the land.
So the harsh reality for farms our size is there would be no opportunity for that next generation to come in behind us and ultimately to use all their own knowledge, their own experience. It is frustrating. It feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth if it comes to pass.
At the moment, passing a farm on to the next generation doesn't come with a tax bill because of an exemption called agricultural property relief, but it seems the government might be looking to change that.
The purpose of the decisions that we're making this week are to ensure that we do stabilise our economy and ensure that we've got the foundations to rebuild our country. And that is vitally important.
The body representing Scottish farmers says any change to the relief could decimate the UK's ability to produce food.
If you start to break up farms so that they're non-viable in terms of the scale at which they have to operate in order to be financially robust to deliver the food that we require, then you're seriously going to undermine our ability to feed ourselves as a nation.
There have been concerns about the relief being used to avoid paying tax.
By some people, this would be seen as a loophole or a way of reducing your tax burden. There's some evidence that some people with particularly large estates take advantage of agricultural relief. On the other hand, there will be those who do hold agricultural assets, perhaps in a small or medium-sized family farm, that wouldn't see this as a loophole, might be concerned about the increase in tax that they would see.
But the Conservatives say accusations of loopholes are not accurate.
Many of these businesses, farms or family businesses, would not exist following a death if these reliefs were taken away.
There have been plenty of warnings of a budget full of tough choices, Many farmers will be hoping their family heritage and livelihoods will be handled with care. Rajdeep Sandhu reporting Scotland, Westminster.
OK, let's get tonight's sport now with Amy. Hi.
Hi, Laura. Thanks very much. Good evening. It's shaping up to be an intriguing week at the top of the Premiership after both Celtic and Aberdeen extended their remarkable unbeaten starts to the season to 9 games, while Rangers, who likely couldn't afford to let the gap widen, returned to winning ways ahead of a mouth-watering clash coming up on Wednesday. Here's Lewis Irons.
Victory for Aberdeen on Saturday meant Celtic knew only a win in Motherwell would see them rise back to the top of the table. While in Glasgow, Rangers kicked off 9 points behind the Dons and faced a St Mirren side in poor form. At Fir Park, goals from Luke McCowan, Alistair Johnston and Adam Ida sealed all 3 points in a 3-0 win for Brendan Rodgers' men to maintain their unbeaten run.
She was really good in the game on the back end of it. As I said, a really, really tough physical game away in Atalanta. So to come here, play with that concentration, play with the quality that we played with and get the result, I was so pleased.
At Ibrox, Mohamed Diomande put the hosts in front before Alex Gogic's leveller, but a second-half goal from the in-form Vaclav Cherny proved decisive.
Yeah, we need to be better than today. We need to be at our level that we had on Thursday, but it's a totally different game again. So it's now about recovering and being ready for Wednesday.
A quarter of the way in, goal difference all that separates the top two, and Rangers now with a bit of a gap above and below them in third. A draw in the Edinburgh Derby means Hearts and Hibs continue to occupy the bottom spots. But what a fascinating midweek lies ahead. A full card of fixtures on Wednesday with an obvious standout clash at Pittodrie as Aberdeen host Rangers.
It's actually great that there's somebody else up there that's, having a little bit of a go. And remember, I think the last time I can really remember this, all the way back to Hearts in the dark ages almost, when they went on a fantastic run at the start of the season. It fell apart eventually, but we just love to see how far Aberdeen can go with this. And to be fair, this is one of the biggest tests they've had yet, if not the biggest.
Well, elsewhere, Scotland's women's head coach Pedro Martinez-Losa says he believes this group are ready to compete in next summer's Euros ahead of their second leg playoff against Hungary tomorrow. Martha Thomas got the all-important goal to seal the victory in Budapest on Friday to ensure Scotland have the edge in the home tie at Easter Road tomorrow. After the game, the Scotland head coach said there was no way Scotland would lose the upcoming home leg, but today he downplayed his comments, insisting the result will speak for itself.
Ready or not, my answer is going to be interpreted. The meaning is going to be if we win or not. For me, the team is ready to play a major tournament. The team is ready to compete tomorrow. That's what we work for, and we have the confidence to do that, and we are sure about that. But the result tomorrow will dictate, in my words, were the right ones or not.
Well, the draw has been made for the third round of the Men's Scottish Cup with 40 teams across 20 games. I'd keep you here for a long time running through them all. So here are a few of the eye-catching ties. There we are, you can have a look at that. We have Queen's Park going up against Glasgow neighbours Partick Thistle, and what about junior side Dundee North End hosting championship side Airdrieonians? Could we have an upset on the cards there, potentially? Meanwhile, Elgin City can look forward to facing Kelty Hearts, especially after the drama of their second round win over Clyde. Wait until you see this. It was 1-1 when Elgin City's teenage goalkeeper, Aidan Glavin, saved a penalty in extra time. He then kept out a further 5 spot kicks in what was a marathon shootout. As if that wasn't enough, he also scored a penalty of his own as Elgin City won 8-7 from a 24-kick decider to progress to the next round.
A bit surreal, but a lot to take in and kind of getting the coverage of it as well. Is a bit different, but yeah, it's kind of been a bit overwhelming at times, but yeah, good. I don't do anything special. I kind of get on the line, go in my gut. If I go the right way, I go the right way. If I don't, I don't. And the hard part is going the right way. It's just trying to get, once you do go the right way, try to get something on it and try to keep it out. I think it's part of my job, so I think just doing that the best you can, and if that's going the right way 5 times, then that's what it is.
Simple as that. Going the right way 5 times?
Absolutely. I mean, he must have got man of the match.
Couldn't even answer that question, but I'm going to guess so.
Yeah.
I'm going to hope so.
Well done to him. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks.
OK, now it's over to Laura McKeever to find out what's happening on BBC Scotland Channel at 9 o'clock.
On the 9 tonight, we'll speak to the host of the That Guy podcast as Police Scotland launch the latest phase of their award-winning social media campaign aiming to prevent sexual offending. We'll also have a special report about a Vietnamese people smuggler who entered the UK illegally and told BBC News he's now forging visa documents for others. And we'll hear from a piper who's made history by lifting a coveted award for the 2nd year in a row. We'll see you at 9.
And now Judith is here with the weather. How's it looking?
It is looking very mild this week, cloudy, high pressure building in, and that's going to keep things really settled right through into next week as well. So
no snow yet.
Is
then?
it bad? Not yet. Not temperatures up to 17 today. We saw actually 17 Celsius indeed for Lookers and for parts of the Borders today. It was very mild indeed. More mild conditions to come, and this was indicative of what we saw today. A lot of mist and low cloud in the mix, but equally some sunshine, as you can tell by those temperatures. But let's take a look at the pressure chart. We have this expansive area of high pressure to the south of us. It is a slow burner. It is going to gradually build in as we head through the course of the week. The slower it builds, the slower it is to clear. Around the top of the high, we'll always see some weather fronts pushing in, bringing some bits and pieces of rain at times, and some quite windy conditions with closer proximity to a low pressure up across Iceland. But as far as tonight's concerned, a fair bit of cloud in the west, building all the while as we head through tonight, producing the odd spot of rain or drizzle, mist and low cloud in the mix as well. The clearest skies in the east, clear skies initially over Shetland before clouding over. Generally lows of around about the 10 or 11 Celsius mark, a bit lower under the clear skies over the northeast. Still a lot of cloud first thing in the west, some early brightness across eastern Scotland. We have a weak weather front making its way into the far northwest of the country, introducing a bit of rain and thicker cloud for a time. Now come the afternoon, so that front will have cleared away from Shetland and we'll see some cooler, colder air coming in here, but equally some sunshine. Temperatures will be the peak in the morning at 12. They'll fall to around about 6 or 7 later in the day. Cloud clearing from Orkney, thicker cloud for the north, but in the east we'll see good sunny spells, I think, come tomorrow afternoon through Edinburgh, Fife, and East Lothian, the eastern borders, and mild temperatures too. And a bit of brightness coming through for the southwest, the Inner Hebrides, but picking up on that frontal cloud over the northwest with some bits and pieces of rain embedded within it, particularly the upslopes of the West Highlands. And winds will be mainly light, just that bit stronger in the north at times. Tomorrow evening, thicker cloud in the west, producing some bits and pieces of rain or drizzle for a time. Clearing skies coming through across northern and northeastern parts of the country. Then on Wednesday, generally with that high pressure building in a bit more morning of sunshine, a dry day for most and still on the mild side too. That's your forecast.
Thank you, Judith. Now tonight's main news again. The number of cases of rape reported to Police Scotland between April and September was at almost 20% on the same period last year. And that is Reporting Scotland. I will have your late news around 10:30 tonight. Until then, from everyone in the team, do enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.